Following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
Hey guys, welcome to Fortress. I'm Rob Fleming, one of the co-owners here.
Hey, I'm John O'Hara. Thanks for coming.
This is InterBrews.
I always fumble that opening, Mike. Welcome to Fortress.
We're here.
We are. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Morning.
Welcome.
Yes,
Appreciate you folks coming out.
Yes, congratulations on opening weekend, this past weekend. How was it?
Yeah, it was a great turnout. We were quite surprised with the local support. Turned out very well. Wednesday had a private event, which was successful. Thursday opening, it was really good, inside and out, and the weather was fantastic. So it turned out to be a super great weekend.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. It was pretty pleased. You know what I mean? First weekend. We hope to build from there, but March Madness and there's a few other things going on.
Yeah.
But I think success.
It's a busy time.
Yeah.
And the weather is fantastic. I mean, it just all kind of came together here in the last week or so.
For sure.
I would imagine a private event is probably a pretty good way to get your feet wet. Is that accurate? Or?
Yeah, I would say yes. It was a bit unplanned.
Yeah.
So it was kind of you're scrambling until you're throwing the doors open to begin with, and so the fact we added that in probably curtailed some of our prep time. But no, it was good. It was a good way to kind of. It was Nick's local eats guy, so it was kind of did a kind of an event for his followers and had them out for a few hours and probably had 150 people. Okay. It was a good way to test the parking lot and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it went well.
Yeah, I agree with that. It went very well. Very diverse group, very good group, and Nick's a great guy. So he's been following us all the way and a big supporter. So it went pretty well.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get the backstory. How did Fortress come about?
I guess I'll start. It's we've all been friends for a while, and our brewer co-owner Dion Billiard in his garage had a 20-gallon system. He's been brewing for 20 plus years, and we're just in his garage having some beers, and just started having the conversations that hey, your beer's really good. I think we could probably scale this up a bit, and it was kind of, I think it started as a joke, really. And then probably a month later, and maybe one or two many beers after that, we decided to go in for it and kind of did the LLC. And from there, it steamrolled after that, obviously trying to find a place. And we came up on this one, and we're just super excited about the location we came up with there. It's turned out really well.
Yeah.
Y'all from here? Y'all kind of
I am.
live and work?
I grew up in Tomball.
Okay.
So I guess I'm an OG local. The other guys are all three Canadian guys, and we all work our day gigs together.
Okay.
That's the
Sounds
connection.
Yeah,
that's
what
the
we do.
connection.
How long until we? No, we're not going to open a brewery, right?
Yeah. Well, we haven't had that. We haven't had that conversation yet in beers in a garage. I mean.
You just got to drink more, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You guys will get there.
We don't. That's the problem. We all work at night, so
Right.
all of our drinking is day drinking, and then we won't work together because we'll all get fired.
That's exactly. Yeah, the craziness about kind of what we were doing, we had access to like a little spot, and it was kind of like, hey, here's like 800 square feet. We can take your homebrew stuff, throw it in there, throw some taps on the wall, and get rolling. 15 months later, we got 6,600 square feet on 3 acres and a gazillion dollars invested. So it kind of spiraled. But it didn't start as this, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, your tap room is
gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it really is. It's fantastic. It's super, open and big and inviting. The big roll-up doors and this is a good area back here. You're close to 45 in Spring Cypress and 2920, but you're back off the road. Yeah, it's like the best of both.
We probably looked for 6 months for a location. We're pretty tight with the 11 Below guys. So they've been pretty important mentors and good guys, and kind of similar story, oil and gas guys. And so we could tell you pretty much anything that was available between 290, Hardy, 1488 in the Beltway, right? And had come close on a couple of places. Found a spot over not too far from Thistle, actually, kind of where Thistle and Tapped is. Wasn't perfect, but probably would have worked. And then through a commercial real estate guy, got a call and said, he got a call saying, I heard you got some guys looking for a brewery spot. They need to come check this out. So this building actually hadn't gone on the market yet. So we kind of, and it was, long story, but we're on well and septic right now, which is not ideal. So we weren't even going to look at it, and then kind of drove over here and oh shit, this is the spot, boys. Let's make this work, right? And so kind of got to the end of the driveway, and then that was the case.
Yeah.
What did this used to be, or just an old?
So they're still they moved next door. It was floor to ceiling boxes and industrial shelving and containers outside, because they do like biodegradable bowls and plates for, I don't know, Chipotle's or something like that, right?
So the people that were here are now
They just moved across the street.
Okay.
So they outgrew this place, and good for them. Great folks. We've got to meet them as neighbors, and super great folks. They got a great business going, and again, they've just outgrown it. I think they were quite happy with their place, but like I said, when we looked at it, they had a lot of inventory, so it was actually hard to look around because they had so much in here.
If they walked back in here and they're like, shit, why didn't we think of that? we should have. Good luck.
Yeah, that's right. We could have.
We'll be back.
Yeah, we'll have a beer. So yeah, the spot from a parking, we're kind of right in between 2920 and Spring Cypress, off the road, so we don't get a lot of road noise. Plenty of parking. We can probably get pretty rowdy if we wanted to and not catch any flack. So the spot worked for us for sure.
Yeah.
A little bigger than we probably would have been looking for. It's funny how it kind of spirals, right? Because we went from the small system to, all right, we're going to go, because of some business decisions, we're going to go to a 10-barrel system. And then when we found this place, we have to kind of take it right away. And so we didn't have the luxury of waiting on the full manufacture of a 10-barrel system. So we found a 15-barrel system.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how it ends up with 15-barrel systems and 6,600 square feet. Those things kind of all spiraled and twisted off into kind of what it is today.
Yeah. Well, it seems to have worked out. I mean, I guess we're only a weekend, but from now, right here, it looks like it's working out pretty well.
So far?
Yeah, so far.
For sure.
So, looking back at the internet and stuff, all the posts and everything, y'all had another name before, a couple name iterations before. Or...
Yeah, so we started with Crazy Monk. I actually really liked it. I think I was one of the three that fought it to the end, try to keep that name. I thought the logo was really cool. We went out to market, and I believe it was a young lady in Romania somewhere over in Europe that came up with the logo, which was really cool. I guess we talked ourselves out of it, and then we really struggled with the name. We had what was the other one, John?
It was Cicada, right?
Cicada,
so I think we had kind of settled on that and went to file everything. And I guess about 5 weeks before we did, some guys some homebrewers in East Texas had filed for trademark protection on it.
Yeah.
So then it was kind of back to the drawing board at that point, and you don't realize how many breweries there are until you try and come up with a name, right?
Yeah.
And even trying to steer clear of beer names too. So that's where we there's 4 trees out in front of the building, and kind of in brainstorming there's 4 people, there's 4 trees, and then, Canadian guys, there's Fortress Mountain in Alberta, right? It's pretty cool spot. So it kind of became, does Fortress work? And then here we are, right? So that's kind of the iteration. There was people like, man, you keep changing your name. It's like, well, it's not intentional, I can promise you. That's for sure.
It's a cool part of the story, though, because I mean, that's the thing with new breweries. You can't do anything in secret because of everything you got to file and licensing and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got guys like us who are like, when you open it, it's like, we just filed 2 days ago. Yeah, it's like, we'll let you know. All right, we're watching.
Yeah,
right. Good luck.
Hey, we'll check back in 17 hours to see if you're up and then, right? And then check back 17 hours after that.
Yeah, I saw another tweet. Somebody else said that you guys had done something. Is that true? No. I can't imagine trying to open something with that much, that many eyeballs, especially for the first time. I mean, you said you came from oil and gas, right? So this is pretty different.
Wildly different, right? It's a lot looser too, right? It's a good crowd, but it's definitely just a looser business, right? I think the booze probably drives some of that, right? But it's definitely doesn't have the structure probably that we're used to. So it's definitely a different clientele, different everything, right?
Yeah.
Probably not a crazy story though, because there's a few breweries in town that all have kind of oil and gas backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're definitely not unique on that front.
It works though. I mean, as far as there's something about it, I think you talk about 11 Below, they've done really well, and that I don't know if it's the mentality or maybe that's a good training ground for it or something. logistically speaking?
Absolutely. Like, day-to-day business, we deal, with the same kind of deal, right? Starting a business, cost models, things like that. Actually, marketing is a big part of the business on both sides. So I agree. And in 11 Below, I think they've done just a phenomenal job of where they started to where they are today, and they keep growing. So again, like John said, they've been a good mentor for us. So we'll definitely reach out to them as needed.
Yeah, and I think there's that engineer process oriented side of things that probably align well. So our partner that's the head brewer, Dion, is definitely engineered to the hilt, right? And so I think what you get with that is that very process oriented. And so what makes you probably a good engineer is what leads to being a good brewer too, right? So I think there's definitely a lot of alignment on that kind of front.
Yes.
Across industry.
It definitely takes both. Like a business, when I look at like what people do with a business, my wife has got her own business, and you have to be so many different things. There has to be the marketing side, which usually is not the forte of someone who's an engineer type. Which,
Right.
You also need the artistic side is when you're coming up with new beers and how to make the tap room look and all that kind of stuff. But then there's the functional part of all of that too, and putting it all together and making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
That's right.
It's you need a group. A single person trying to do it. That's tough.
Yeah, that's tough. And again, you got to have a life outside of this. We love it. We got a passion for it. Our day jobs especially. So, getting that time off, 4 of us work well together. And if somebody needs a weekend here and there, we're obviously going to work on that as we move forward. So it's been fun. But yeah, going back to your point, if we got to grab a mop and mop the floor, we'll do whatever it takes, right? We just want to make people feel comfortable. Like the Fortress, I often think too, for stress. You're in Houston, there's not much traffic. We're all busy. We all got hectic lives. And so for stress, like we come back here and you feel like you're in an oasis, really. It's really laid back and the vibe is good. And that's what we're trying to do here. So people return, right? So getting folks here the first time is typically not hard. As wanting them to come back repeatedly is one thing we want to make sure of.
Yeah, in this area, I mean, there are breweries. We talked before the show started. There are a few breweries that have all popped up lately. It seems like they come in clusters. But people talking about the number of breweries in Houston. We're not, as far as like locations, you're still pretty far from the closest
one.
The next closest brewery, and this area needed one. This is an area that's growing big time. It's got a lot of people up here. Exxon just right there. It's Woodlands. The Woodlands doesn't have in the Woodlands. I think it might be cost prohibitive to.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think the building drives a lot of where people tend to find spaces, right? And I think probably being around rooftops was where you'd like to be. Maybe you don't have the facility that fits the business model. So I think that maybe has been the holdup for Houston. And honestly, it's pretty tough around here. We kind of stumbled into this spot, right? You talk about the growth area. I think there's like 350,000 square feet coming to Springwoods Village, which is kind of that Exxon campus kind of close to here. So that the growth is pretty significant in this area for sure. So yeah, we're pretty jazzed about the spot for sure. The feedback's been good.
I mean, all just $45.99, $29.20. It's just right.
Easy access.
It's just right there. But this area needs. I'm glad you guys are here because this is close to our job too.
So we appreciate it.
It's any chance y'all are gonna stay open until like 1 a.m. or?
Yeah, man.
What are your hours? I know you're just
right now. They're Thursday, Friday 4 to 9, Saturday noon to 9, and then Sunday 12 to 6.
So 4 days.
Yeah, so 4 days, and then we'll kind of expand out from there. Rotate food trucks right now. If we're open, we're going to have a food truck here. Okay. That's the goal. If you don't have food, you don't kind of hold people. I think in an ideal world, we'd love to be open more days, right? We'll just let people drive what that looks like. But we were pretty busy on this weekend.
This weekend was good.
I think our plan is we've got live music this Saturday. So we got live music actually lined up most Saturdays for the next few months.
Cool.
A couple of Thursdays, so a little mix, a little bit of everything. So I think that's key. I think events. We've had a lot of inquiries on people wanting to hold events here. I've got 3 or 4 right now kind of planned.
What styles of music?
A little bit of everything. This guy this week I would say is kind of a alt country,
acoustic.
Acoustic alt country. We got my niece is in a band that was called the Pretty Bads. They're like a punk band, right? And so we'll have
Kennedy's a big punk fan.
Yeah, so we're on the cover. Shout out, they're on the cover of Houston Press, and so they've played some breweries, and they're going to bring some other bands out.
Oh, cool.
Got a blues band lined up for the 13th from out of town. It was pretty legit, like kind of a 3-man gig, and so I think a little bit of everything, right? We don't want to narrow down into where somebody feels like we're leaving their music out, right?
Yeah.
So from acoustic rock to metal, I guess, just about everything.
So you said some of that stuff will be on Thursdays too, maybe Thursday, Fridays, not just specifically on the weekends.
Correct. So we've got the 4th. We've got a guy, kind of a punk sound guy's going to come out and play on Thursday the 4th. We've got a friend who's willing to host an open mic night. So I think we're going to do an open mic night. We got to figure out what night of the week that's going to be. So yeah, I think the plan will be to have, I mean, if we have music every day, it'd be great, right? But I think you'll see at least once a weekend.
Okay.
And then go from there and hopefully expand that out for sure.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about a brewery, that it's not just beer. It adds so much to a community. So now you've got to play a music venue for musicians. You could potentially stand-up comedians or whatever. To play a meeting place or what presentation kind of thing. Like this really does allow for that. Your space here is it's uniquely, compared to even a lot of other breweries, this is uniquely, I don't know, kind of suited for things like that.
Kind of a place for the kids to run around too,
Yeah, we
dirt
got
mound and
we're kind of funny enough, that extra dirt mound has been they were like ants on it last year. It was like 30 kids, right? So and we're actually probably I think tomorrow we're gonna kind of fence off a kids area where they have kind of a safe place. On Saturdays we have a friend who's gonna do she's a PE teacher in an elementary school, and what she does, you kind of give her $10 and she takes your kid for 2 hours and wears them out with events, and they've done it at other breweries. So yeah, we've got definitely family friendly, dog friendly. Man, there was probably a dozen dogs here the other weekend. So yeah, we want to be welcoming to all, right?
everybody,
so
everything.
that's kind of the answer to that. You kind of swing back around to your 1 a.m. question. I'm not sure I want to be in the 1 a.m. bar business. You deal with a little bit of nonsense. I think when you get that late in the evening.
Right.
So I think we're a brewery, but want to try and keep it on the rails before. It's probably, I can see us being open till 10. Or 11 on kind of crazy nights or something, but I don't know if we're in the 2 a.m. bar business.
No, it's I don't want to be open, at 1 a.m. As a person, I want to be shut down for the night.
Yeah, I'm too old to be a bouncer and definitely out of shape, so it's not going to work. Definitely.
Rob, where in Canada are you from?
So I'm from Newfoundland, St. John's, and our brewer as well is from Newfoundland. So as far east you can go in Canada without getting wet, I would say. You'll have a little dip in the Atlantic. So, yeah, I basically moved away from there almost 22 years ago.
Okay.
And a little bit of travel, Saudi Arabia, lived there for a bit. So, yeah, kind of miss home, but certainly making this place my home as well right now. Kind of, I would say Houston has grown on me for sure. First, it was a little challenging just because due to the size.
Yeah. Well, it's just the humidity that you feel. That's not actually it growing on you. It's just, you can't escape it.
That's right.
Yeah, I would imagine as far as weather, that's probably the most different, other than maybe, well, you're close to the Arctic Circle. I mean, a lot closer up there than you are down here. But, that's a wild swing. But, no, we're glad you're here because now we've got delicious beer. Let's talk beer for a second. We're drinking the Wit.
Let's do it,
Tell us about your Wit. What do we know?
Go ahead.
So, kind of give you when we were going through, I'm gonna probably tell on Dion a bit right here and get the craft beer community angry at him. He's a pretty big Blue Moon fan, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I think for years and years he's a wheat fan, right? Mm-hmm. So as we kind of kicked off the brewing, so I guess it was kind of early January last year. It became all right. Let's start dialing in what those first handful of beers looks like. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the unanimous was we're pretty big Yellow Rose fans, like the idea of a SMASH IPA. So started kind of working the SMASH, working a blonde. I think 1,000 degrees in Texas heat, and
Need it.
My wife is kind of a go-to for me. If she won't drink it, then it's maybe not for the masses, right? Yeah. So I think the blonde, but pretty quickly I think it was the Wit was hey here we're gonna have a good Wit, and then that's our goal. So a couple iterations of it. The good thing, I guess, right now is that these first few brews, or what you're having right now, have turned out drinkable, which I'm not sure we expected. So we're pleased in the fact that batch 1 of the Wit is drinkable. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of on batch 2. We've got batch 2 in the kegs. So I expect it to improve over time. It's got some coriander, some orange peel. So I find it pretty drinkable. It's been popular so far.
Yeah.
It can give you the analytics by day, but it's probably been as popular as any of the beers so far. Neck and neck. But I think a couple people have called out the coriander. People that kind of can dial into it.
Yeah.
But I think to me, it's if you want to have a beer that you can drink in the heat of Texas, right? And I feel like that's going to take us in a direction where we can do that.
Yeah, I think coriander is one of those things. Because coriander, the seeds of cilantro, right?
Yep.
It's one of those. There's certain like super tasters or whatever. There's certain people where that's just it's they're gonna pick up on it, and I think even some. I don't know if coriander is the same as cilantro, but when they taste cilantro, they taste like soap.
Yep.
Tastes like soap.
Yep.
But for everybody else who's not cursed,
Yep.
it tastes great.
Yeah, another thing, you nailed it, right? And I've heard a couple people, man, it's kind of got a soap taste to it. I could eat cilantro by the spoon, just by the handful, right, without anything else. But it's definitely, I've known people, if you grew up in Texas, number one, if you don't like cilantro, something's wrong with you. But the other people that are saying, man, they can't stand even the smell of it. So, yeah, I would agree because people can nail that coriander and that wit for sure.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like, when you look at beer reviews online, you have to keep all that in mind. Like, who is this person saying this, and what are they bringing to the table as they sit down to try this beer? Because, people online, they just throw out their opinion. And it's like, all right, we'll qualify that first. Are you a super taster? Was it your 5th beer of the night? Are you just a horrible person? What's going on? It's like, let us know. Are you happy in your relationships at home? All of that. Are you having a fight? That's what that should be like. What's the last thing you said to your significant other before you had this beer?
Before you went and put us on blast on Untapped,
yes.
Right? What was going on prior to that?
Yeah,
right?
Just had a blowout with my wife. Probably going to be sleeping on the couch tonight, taking it out on this beer review. That needs to be a thing. Have you ever been there, Mike? Have you ever had an angry beer?
No.
You've never had an angry beer?
Never.
You've never had like a bad day and you're like...
Not when it comes to when I want to have a beer in front of me. It's
it
calms me down.
Angry whiskeys, I think, is where that goes, right? When you're angry, you go to the whiskey.
Is that where you go angry whiskey?
No.
You never do angry drinks. As soon as you get a drink in front of you, you're good. It's kind of your zen.
Yeah.
focus.
Why would I be angry if I'm drinking? I'm not an angry drinker or angry person at all.
You've never had a frustrating day.
Well, yeah.
And then somebody hands you a beer and you're still fuming about it.
No.
You just let it go?
Yeah.
That's really good. You're probably going to live to be 120.
I hope so.
Yeah, now, Kennedy, on the other hand, you're a bit of a fumer, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's still angry about stuff that I did 2 years ago when we started Liquid Lunch. He still doesn't let me forget it. That's actually me. I don't let him forget anything. Never let go of an excuse to be the bees, bust the balls. But anyway, the wit is delicious, though.
Very delicious.
I'm not a coriander super taster. I can taste it. I think it tastes super. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely had some fun in the garage coming up. I bet we did like 30 brews, if not more, experimenting and all that good stuff and getting creative. And again, Deion's a real creative guy. So, I had to get Uber out of there or get my son to pick me up more than one Saturday, that's for sure. So it's been a fun experience.
Yeah. And then what about the blonde? How'd that one come about?
So how did the blonde come about? The blonde, because I think also the unanimous across
Texas.
the four of us was, man, I think you got to have something to eat. Maybe we're about to probably dive into my personal opinion outside the group's opinion, but I think it's easy to go to breweries nowadays and not just be able to find, like my wife as an example, she's a Michelob Ultra drinker, right?
Yeah,
It's like, hey, give me something. I'm not looking for crazy taste. I'm looking for all this stuff. I want something I can just have an easy, kind of easy drinking,
Sure.
right? Mm-hmm. So I think the blonde from day one had a pretty big target for us on, hey, let's do a blonde. There's some business decisions on that front too. I think Bombshell Blondes probably sells as much as anything, right? So I think getting that right with weather and whatnot. So I think that's really what kind of drove a focus on the blonde. And so we kind of ticked the IPA box, ticked the wit box, which had some personal fans in the group, and then get the blonde out there. And then funny enough, it led, I guess I'm not speaking out of school, right? So when we were scaling up, the decision was kind of made to bring in a consultant brewer saying, all right, let's bring somebody in. So we're going from 20 gallon to 15 barrel. So the drive from him, he came in from the Northeast and quite experienced, really good guy. Shout out to Jeff Goodnow. Good knows beer. But he came in and it was like, all right, guys, I would strongly suggest we do a stout. Let's we don't have to scrap the first batch. We don't have to sell it, whatever. So let's kind of, and so he kind of drove us toward a stout, which we had never done. Never brewed, didn't brew in the garage. Deion hadn't brewed. We just hadn't done stouts. So we do a stout, go to, a couple weeks into it and go to pulling off the fermenters with it. and it was drinkable.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how it hit. So in kind of order of brew, we did the stout, the IPA, and then the blonde for the first 3 on the system.
Oh, wow.
So I expect the stout to get quite a bit better over time too. I think we're with all the 4 beers we have right now. I expect we haven't done a third batch of anything yet.
No.
So we have maybe the third upcoming. So I would expect those to improve just over what they are today.
Okay.
But yeah, so that wasn't probably the most exciting story about the blonde. But wanted to get something that you can drink when it's fucking hot in Texas.
And
you know
like
what I mean?
And like you said, it's, you're talking about your wife. There's a lot of the people that are still kind of like getting their foot in there. Not just, females. There's the guys out there too, or that are just want a craft beer, but they're not ready to go crazy, like you said. So
yeah, I think it's
blonde's a good.
it was the number 1 seller throughout the weekend, I think.
Yeah.
if you wanna look at
Absolutely
it.
was, yeah.
It's kind of funny. Early analytics, your craft beer committees, like maybe that come on a Thursday and a Sunday. IPA was the number 1 drinker that day. Fridays and Saturdays, it was the blonde and the wit. So I think there's already probably after 1 weekend some insights to tell you, Saturday when you're getting the masses out, blonde and the wit were probably where it is, right? And then the IPAs were the ones when, hey, there's a new brewery open, let's go check them out. And they're probably bigger craft beer drinkers. They tend to go to the IPA.
Yeah. Now I saw the smaller system. Is that the original the garage system?
It is.
Yeah.
Are y'all planning on doing some experimental stuff maybe on the little guy or?
Yeah, so this is what Dion and ourselves been using in his garage. 20-gallon system. It's fully censored, Wi-Fi. Like he's done a good job. Built a panel from scratch. So that back area will turn into a lab. So we will get creative with that. So and Dion's got some recipes he's recorded over the years. Right, we'll pull out of the toolbox and definitely try those out. So obviously it makes a lot of sense practicing on a 20-gallon system over a 15-barrel system, even if we only do smaller batches. Right. So that's part of the goal. And I believe, I don't want to speak for Dion, but I think he's hinting towards a hazy IPA for next the 5th beer. So
that's this weekend, in fact.
That should be this weekend.
We will have a hazy in the can this weekend.
Oh wow!
So
okay,
that'll be beer number 5.
Cool.
So.
And y'all's, I don't know, in the vision that you all collectively have, how many beers would you like to have as kind of your core beers or?
You'll probably get different answers from each of us,
I
would think. But go ahead, Rob.
So obviously, right, craft beer, you got to have 4 staples, 3 to 4 to 5 staples where everyone's liking it. It's pretty popular. But then, you do have to have some creativity. Craft beer is what it's all about. That's where the passion is. And again, Dion in particular has got that passion. He's our brewer. So, I could easily see us getting up to 10 to 12. I would say somewhat quickly, but again, it's really going to depend on capacity in the business as it comes in. But right now, again, first weekend in, we're pretty 72, 84 hours, whatever you want to call it in. We're still a bit new here, but we're learning as we go. I would say 10 to 12 somewhere in there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're going to have those 5 or 6 year round. I think the hazy, and we've got a DEPA that we're pretty excited about. I'm surprised we haven't done yet, to be honest with you. Some of that's just because we hadn't, our labels aren't approved yet. So we got a whole shit pot of kegs in there full of beer. And so until we can start mowing through some of that, we're going to be space constrained.
And there's a double in there? You're
no,
just waiting?
it's right. We're ready. We're
just waiting
to brew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be next behind the hazy. So probably not the following weekend, 10 days out.
My wife is a double IPA fanatic.
Perfect.
So
My wife
Good
would pour it out. But yeah, so I think that'll give us 6 core beers, and then we'll probably look at just dialing those in. All right, let's get these right over the next 7 or 8 months. And then when we're mixing in there, to have some seasonal stuff, special release stuff. Of course, it's pretty funny. We get, a couple of us like sours. A couple of them would pour them out. A couple of us, I really like barrel-aged stuff. So I'm pretty fired up about
Y'all have any barrels?
Not yet, but we will soon, right? So, man, that's like scoring gold nowadays. You know what I mean? So they're pretty. It's a pretty premium market to find barrels right now.
Yeah.
But we've kind of got a room where we get that glass. So we're gonna maybe backlight and make it a barrel room, and we can kind of have a cool vibe with a barrel room there. But the goal is to try and get something in barrels for a fall release. So it'll probably be some sort of iteration of the stout. Get that in some barrels, and then be able to kind of roll that out whenever Texas becomes manageable from a weather perspective again, and we can kind of have a football season end of year rollout for some barrel aged first release.
yeah, what are we 2 weeks away from 100 degrees.
It's coming.
87
It's coming.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about mid-80s.
87.
Feels good right now though.
Yes.
So get all the outdoor stuff you can in while you can before it all catches on fire.
Yeah, we're trying to get this couple of months of sunshine weather in Texas before before it gets hot. Now that being said, the plan right now is to air con. We have big ass fans, which I'm sure you guys can see on the radio, on the stream.
Yeah,
but we have
Look
a couple.
into your earbuds.
Look into your earbuds. You can see. So we have a couple of big ass fans, and that make a big difference. But our plan is to air condition the space.
Okay.
So we should, before the heat of summer, have we've already got a plan in place to get some AC in here, so we don't have full-time paramedics picking people off the floor, right?
No, that's a big difference because there's you go some places and it's just like I don't know, like when we're talking about who do we need to hit up? It's like as far as for the podcast, you're like, well, let's line these up before the summer gets here.
Man, I would go with the car. I remember going to Carbach at a pre InBev days.
Yeah.
And like, man, I almost had a heat stroke out there and whatnot. So I, and some of the OG St. Arnold days in the warehouse, so it was pretty toasty back off of Hempstead Highway, right?
Yeah.
So, I think nowadays, I'm sure you guys are well versed in it. There's definitely been a swing to improving the tap room, right? A lot of the business is tap room driven now.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we get this piece right, that we make this a place people want to come hang out comfortably. And without this, you're in pretty big trouble nowadays. So,
well, starting out, your tap room, I mean, visually, it's great. It all the pictures you've posted and everything, and the lights. How many bulbs are above the bar? Do y'all know that off the top?
That's a question I can tell you off the top of my head. Hold on, let me think about it. That's actually, it should be a trivia question. Then we can, you get a free beer if you can guess without counting. 42, I think, sounds something right. Maybe 42.
Okay.
But don't get
I
me
just
to.
counted 41, but
Yeah, it might be
I
right.
could have missed one with all that.
Yeah, it might be right. I was close.
You have to go with style. You have to go through all the long, skinny ones, and then the short, squatty ones, and then the
The one
round.
that looks like normal ones.
The ones that look like Mike.
I don't know if we were talking about bulbs or chicks there for a second.
Yeah, what do you want more of?
I don't know.
Depends on what you're into, I guess. All about that filament, kind of.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I don't know where I was going with
That's
that.
the Wit talking.
Yeah.
We need to get you a Wit refill.
No, we
Well-
should be good.
Huh?
Oh.
Oh, well, you know what? Rob's got to leave here in just a little bit, so we'll manage. Huh? Says the guy over there
Exactly
laying out on the
right.
bench.
The broadcast will be substandard this evening with too many more beers, right?
No, it gets right after about 7. No, I don't know what the magic number I think is 2.5. If you go past that, then it starts to get I don't know, starts to get silly, right, Mike? When Mike starts to get silly, that's when we know. When Mike finds my jokes funny, that's the wheel. See?
I need the cricket.
Yeah, I don't have that. I
Sound.
got rid of that soundtrack or the sound effect. What else? Oh, let me ask you this: beers that you guys really loved, not yours, but that kind of inspired y'all. When you were getting into all of this.
So for me, I'm probably the least educated on craft beer, to be honest. So for me, I was the Miller Lite person, right? Like Miller Lite. And then these guys got me a bit more onto it. We're in Dion's garage, so I started liking some more. So probably my favorite, I would say, is 11 Below Hipster Sauce, that style beer. But I'm pretty open to trying almost anything now. Out of sours, I sometimes struggle a bit, but I'll give them a try. So there's a few I like. B52 does some good sours and stuff. So there's a ton of good breweries in the Houston area. So I'm open to trying any of them. Bearded Fox again, they got some good. I believe it's the what's it called, Goat. That's quite good.
Yeah,
so
that's a double.
again, I'm the least educated at all these guys when it comes to knowing beer, but I'm learning daily. So I'm excited to try all the ones we're going to make as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, man, kind of going back, I'm a pretty big Yellow Rose fan.
Mm-hmm.
You get asked this question, of course, now, especially you own a brewery, you get to ask this question all the time. And so now I pay attention to what I order. Like if we go, I live by Locatelli's and they got a handful, and I kind of just pay attention now what I order because without thinking about it, and I think that's my go-tos. But I would say Yellow Rose is a pretty big one for me. It's a pretty drinkable beer.
Yeah.
We go back to the old St. Arnold days, man. I was a lawnmower guy back in the back when they were kind of the only game in town.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm now I catch myself going to all the special release barrel aged stuff. I was a little late to the hazy game, maybe. I think that's that trend kind of hit me without maybe I wasn't paying attention.
That's the thing is, like, you say you're late to it, And I mean, it seems like with everybody talking about it all the time that it's been going on forever, but it's like maybe a year that like hazies have been a thing in Houston, especially, and everybody's talking about like, oh, the trend's over, or that's like the next wave. I don't know.
And man, people look at you like you got something growing out of your forehead if you don't have one nowadays, right? It's like, well, you don't have a hazy. What's going on, right? Man, I kind of remember when the first Bishop's Barrel hit, right? When kind of the release 1, 2, and 3 were hitting, and it was like, man, this is nuts. They're putting it in, and that's probably been 12, 14 years ago today.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what some of mine is. We laugh, and I'll over time with our lunches as we've worked here, we'll go to kind of Torchy's around the corner and sit at the bar, and they kind of know we're always working on a brewery, and we all think gravitate towards the Voodoo Ranger, right? And it's 7 whatever %. We have a couple of those, and shit goes completely sideways. We come back, we get back, and productivity's plummeted and everything else, right?
Don't keep the stats on that. Those lunch meetings.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I can tell you another one I like. I'm a pretty big fan of all the brash stuff.
Yeah.
I think they hit stouts and whatnot out of the
stout game is super strong.
Man, they hit it out of the ballpark. So I'm pretty big on those guys. Hipster Sauce, I think Rob nailed that one.
Love that game. Love that beer.
I think, man, another one. Jeff was here from 11 Below. Those guys have been so great throughout the process, and I remember we were over there, and I used to spend a lot of time there. I lived pretty close to the brewery. And whenever they first had released Hipster Sauce, I think I took one drink and I said, by the way, man, that's your best beer. Right?
Yeah,
and he said, I think I agree, right? And I think that's being shown as it's everywhere now. I was at the Rustic the other night, catching some music, and then went up there, we got Hipster Sauce. I was like, oh, great. So I think it's really expanding in Houston. So I think it's become their signature beer. Yeah. From what I can see. That's not them speaking. That's me speaking. So I think Houston craft beer scene's come a long way in 10 years. Mm-hmm. There used to be, I wouldn't order often a Houston craft beer. Yeah. And now I catch myself all the time ordering a Houston craft beer. So I think that's a good sign. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's there's so much variety. You can find somebody who says I don't like beer. I smile. I'm like, all right, what do you mean by beer? Let's get into this. And then you can usually find something that they'll enjoy. Right.
Yes.
Thanks.
Now, a friend of mine, she swore up and down she didn't like beer. Don't like beer. She's tried them all. Hates it. And then just recently she said, I found a beer I like.
What was it?
It was like some kind of coffee stout. I forget what. She was in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. So that's the funny thing. It's like you hear people say, I don't like, and then it'll be a sour or a stout or something. Yeah. You're like, oh, you should try a blonde. And it's like, no, it tastes too much like beer. But then you try some, something else, and it's like, oh. So what we think of as gateway beers aren't always, I mean, for, the majority of people, it's going to be a blonde or something along those lines. But everybody, there's other people.
I think this move, and if you try our blonde, right, there's some citrus, it's got some citrus to it and whatnot. I think that's maybe helping some people with this kind of move to more citrusy beer. Mm-hmm. I think real over the top hoppy, my wife will puke in a bucket, right? She still won't drink it. But you give her something, one of these, a hazy or something that's got that more kind of citrus side. Yeah. She tends to be, I can drink this, So I think that's maybe helping some people who aren't traditional IPA beer drinkers or, craft beer drinkers.
Well, here's a working theory, and this is not based on anything other than what just came into my mind. So most of us here in this country, our ancestors came over by boat, and they always worried about scurvy, and so there's always the citrus. And so we're scurvy phobic, so we crave citrus.
It's in our DNA, right? It's like deep embedded in our DNA.
Yeah, generations upon generations, we just, hate that scurvy. Yeah. No, I don't know.
It makes sense to me, man.
Maybe. We'll go with it. It's a working thing. I'm going to write a book on just random shit I came up with over beers.
Make sure we get credited.
Yeah, I will. Footnotes. Fortress. Thanks to Fortress episode 1. This is 199. We're almost at 200.
199.
Yeah.
So right before the OGs, I think you said St. Arnold for 200, huh?
Yes. Yes. Aaron and Brock will be on later this week. We'll record it. And
I look forward to listening to that one. That should be really good.
Yeah, it's they're almost to 25 years. Yeah, and nice. That's a whole nother realm of
the beer garden's pretty damn impressive.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
So funny, our consultant that was in has worked at a couple. I think he worked at Avery and a couple other ones as brewers, and so it was kind of like, all right, we got you in town. Let's take you out. All right, let's pop down. We got to go to the beer garden at St. Arnold, right? We walked in. Of course, it was weather like this. Sun's going down. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think this is about as good as you'll find in Texas.
Yeah.
And I think his response was, dude, this is about as good as you'll find in the U.S. This is unbelievable. So, yeah, I think what they've done is a pretty good template to what a path should look like.
Well, that's the thing. It's like 5 years from now, everybody's game is up. You know, it's like you look at their beer garden. You know, so out here, where are your sunsets at? You know?
So it kind of starts on this end of the building. Don't ask me directions. My wife makes fun of me because I can't point north, south, east, west. But so it kind of starts here and ends there. So we have this patio kind of when you're driving in that I think will be a good sunset patio and whatnot. And then we kind of have the trees that block. So it kind of goes this way. So we're gonna get a little sun, get a little sunset. Our building's relatively well set up. I think for
that's
that.
a cool thing. Like you put a beer in your hand and a beautiful sunset and people around you that you tolerate. And it's sorry, Kennedy. I was thinking about Kennedy there for a second.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, people you like, your
think about
friends.
me all the time, don't you?
No, I tolerate you. I tolerate you so hard, man. But anyway, there's just
we all know what it really means.
Right. there's just a magical thing about that. But Rob, I want to keep you in the good graces of your boss, and I know that you've got right. Don't you have a time?
Yeah, lunch break's over for you guys, so you guys can keep rolling.
We will. But Rob, thank you so much.
Thank
for being
you
on.
guys. I
Yeah,
appreciate your
thanks a lot.
time.
You know,
Thank
we'll actually pause and get refills and reconvene here, and just nobody will even know we're gone because I just did that. Back. All right, we're back. IPA's in front of us. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yeah. And clinky. Delicious IPA. It's a good beer.
Thank you.
It's like super. What's the grain? You said smash. So what type of?
It's a 2-row
Okay. I like it. It's
What,
like
what hops are you using?
It's a.
Simcoe.
I was gonna say I taste Simcoe. Actually,
Okay.
he told me.
Simcoe hop.
He told me before.
That's a good example of using Simcoe on the small system is one thing. Buying it in bulk from the one supplier we can get it as another, right? So
Simcoe's it's the it hop, right?
it is the Ed hop, right?
Yeah.
And they're proud of it.
Is it new?
I don't think it's that new.
I don't think like Mosaic was the it hop for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know what came in after that. But for whatever Simcoe has.
I know the most fun hop, at least the most fun hop to say.
Motueka?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
What
made
is it?
Montueca.
Motueka. We made a Motueka smash out of the grain cellar a few episodes back on Liquid Lunch. So.
Sounds like it's got mota in it, which translates to something in
Yeah,
Spanish.
no.
Huh. What?
What is it?
I don't
Mota?
understand.
Yeah, I
Mota.
don't
I don't understand.
Oh. No.
So that'll be venture number 2 is the distillery, the dispensary business, right?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be legal one day.
No, here? I don't know, man.
We'll be last 5.
We'll be last.
We'll
but
be
yeah.
we'll be number 50, just like with the
I'll be 85.
beer to go.
That's right.
We'll get Sportsbook before we ever get
Yeah, legalize
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Sportsbook's on is almost there.
I think you're
People
right.
love to gamble on sports. But
Yes.
it's like, but you can't smoke a joint while you do that.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid.
Hey, for Smash beers, is the does it have to be an IPA for a Smash?
I think so.
Are all Smashes IPAs?
That's a good question.
I mean,
Or
it
could I
just
make
means-
like a Hefeweizen with the single malt and single hop?
I mean, no, because the Hefeweizen, well, unless you made 100% wheat,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
because you can't make a Hefeweizen without
Okay, well,
wheat.
It's
just any other beer. I don't know if that Hef was a bad
A blonde
example.
I mean, I guess technically, if you made a blonde with just 2-row and
You wouldn't call it a smash, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the name smash maybe just tied to the IPA. Man, we're going to that territory where we're beyond my brewing depth.
I think I think it's reserved for IPAs, but I guess it's the brewing industry, so you could
do it.
Single malt
You can
and
do whatever you
single hop.
want.
Single hop.
It's just certain styles you can't just do a single malt though. Like a stout, you can't do a single malt. You can't do all and have it be dark. I don't think.
It'd all just be them specialty grains, huh?
Yeah, you can't do that because then you don't have the right. You need your base malt for fermentation.
Right.
So what's your go-to beers for Texas craft?
That's all I say. I asked that question. I'm like, let's hear what you say. But somebody asked me that, and I'm like, I'm stumped because I'm very fickle. Because like when I'm drinking one beer, I'm thinking about the next beer, and it's a completely different style.
Yep.
Go-to though, I know what my wife's go-tos are, because she's like, buy me this. But I'm so moody. Mike, you answer the question first if you can.
I guess I just gave it away when I used my example. I'm a Hefeweizen guy.
Yep.
Oh.
The wheat, I love Hefeweizen.
So you love me right now.
I know I do. You already know why I love you. But yeah, no, that's my go-to. You know, it's kind of the first thing. You know, I will go to a new brewery. You know, the girlfriend, she'll look up there and say, "Oh, I know what you're getting." Yep, you know what I'm getting. So I just like that banana-y, clovery.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I like.
I just brewed a Hefeweizen and gave Mike a whole bunch of them.
Yep.
Really? You only gave me one.
And I got none.
Yeah.
Do you want one?
I got one.
I have some out in the car. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was going to get
in the
Mike.
car. Is the light hitting it?
No.
Is
The
it-
light's not hitting
is
it.
it in-
I'm not
in
a
the cooler?
savage. Come on.
Is it in a cooler?
Well, no, it's not in the cooler, but it hasn't been in the refrigerator yet.
Yeah, but it's gonna get hot in there.
Well,
Yeah, the good thing, the coolest thing about owning a brewery is people show up with beers.
Yeah.
So
Really?
you get gifted. Actually, we've got like people show up with whiskey. I think Jeff from 11 Below bought me an Elijah Craig yesterday, and
Yeah.
so we've gotten whiskey, wine, all kinds of crazy beers. We are open with the bottle share crowd, and so they kind of talk to there's so a lot of those guys, some of these core guys live right around here. And so they kind of started stopping by on some Saturdays, and those Saturdays kind of devolved in the afternoons to not getting shit done, right? And,
Yeah.
my wife would show up, and we're all standing around pounding beers instead of operating saws and hanging things. And it was
You're doing research.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It was and we have to be welcoming to the community, right? That's the
You don't
biggest
be a
thing.
savage.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we did the bottle share thing now. So everybody tends to show up and say, "Hey, look here, can I share this with you?" It's like, yeah, fire away, right? So,
Yeah. I think now that I'm thinking about it, maybe Pilsners are my go-to, like a Hans Pils, or just anytime I see a Pilsner
Yep.
somewhere, I want to try it. Maybe as my first beer, or if I just don't know, that's my contemplation beer. And then but I try, like if I'm going to eat, that's a whole different thing. It's like,
Yep.
what am I eating? Like, am I craving some food, and then what beer goes well with that, or if I want a good beer food pairing,
Yep.
like what's on the list? I probably overthink it.
what about you, Chris?
Oh, hands down, I love sours.
Yeah.
Like the funkier, the better. The more it tastes like, a mildewy barn,
Yeah.
hay, that kind of stuff.
Like your apartment.
Oh, I wish it did. I wish it smelled like that. Yeah, it doesn't sound like they should taste good, but oh man,
Yeah.
I love them.
You had
like
Orval.
yeah.
Did you know
no,
Orval Day was a thing? I didn't know it was a
No.
thing, but apparently it was a thing.
Yeah, like Jester King, Collective Brewing Project does a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a big fan, and I probably shouldn't say this. Josh is gonna get mad at me,
Mm.
but I was a big fan of Texian.
I'm not mad at you.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Caleb.
Yeah, he made some good stuff.
He made some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's there's been some breweries like who was it that just closed up in Dallas, or not
Yeah, Dallas.
with the one with the cans that kind of fit together.
Tups?
No.
Tups, so oof, that'd be big news. Tups closed.
No, it
they're
was
not the ones that.
huh?
I know who you're talking about. I've been there.
Oh,
We've been
Noble Ray.
there.
Noble Ray.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't
They
know
just
that one,
announced
yeah.
like they may reopen under new ownership or something like that.
I didn't know they closed.
Yeah,
Oh.
they just released like just a day ago or
That's
2 days
sad.
ago.
Sadly.
Yeah, and I tried their beers, and if I remember, they were pretty good. And it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't something like typically for me. I don't know about you guys, but I reserve like the beers that really hit me and that I remember. It's typically like at the brewery.
Yep.
It's like everything comes together, the experience and the beer and all of that. It's not all the time, and then I'll go back and have that beer again, like at home, and like I kind of reminisce on that, how awesome it was. It's like it grooves into your brain. So it's not. I'm not knocking their beers when I say I think they were pretty good. I'd never visited the brewery. I just had the cans, at home. But when you look at the breweries that have closed over time, you look at them and what was the factor
Yep.
in there?
So we kind of on that point. I can't name a whole lot in Houston that have closed. When we were kind of on the hunt, opening for equipment and various things, and we had kind of stumbled across a 15-barrel system that wasn't off the shelf, that was close to off the shelf. But in that hunt, we kind of got hooked up with the Robert Earl Keen Honey Pills, the brewery.
Pedernales.
Pedernales.
Yeah.
and they were in the process of closing and selling off the brands. And kind of in talking to that guy, it sounded like, of course, I think there was 11 breweries in Fredericksburg, which is also a semi-seasonal place.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good sign for Texas, and that we don't lose a lot of breweries. So I think there's room for expansion.
Yeah.
So kind of we were going on the process of business planning and what our future looks like. There was still a lot of room for growth, right? I don't have to throw all the numbers out to you about 49th and 50th and all these different per capita numbers. But I think the fact we don't see, many closing right now, I think is a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ones that have, there's typically a thing.
Yeah.
Like
160.
160 foot, they got flooded.
Yeah, Harvey closed them.
It wasn't that the market was flooded, it's like they were actually physically flooded.
Yeah. And so there's been a few caught up in the whole DME thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well versed you guys are in that, but the DME from the manufacturer in Canada, we got a bit caught up in it, and we had a keg washer on order with those guys.
Yeah.
So we weren't affected like some, but one opening by St. Arnold, local group, right? Yeah, they had a significant amount of equipment, so it looks like that's getting somewhat unstuck.
That's good.
But I think some in Texas have been hit by that.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the one thing we've seen, but I can't name a bunch off the top of my head in Houston that have not either closed and reopened to something else, or two rows, or some of those from way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
But
Fort Bend County Brewing.
Well,
Fort Bend, but they changed, right? So they're
Fort Bend was on Beltway 8, and they closed. It was
what's the one? There was one in Fort Bend that converted though.
Texian closed,
Texan
and then
closed, that's
Fullbrook
right.
opened in that location,
Fullbrook, yeah.
but that's different ownership and everything. But yeah, same equipment.
And I think they didn't have bathrooms, or something to that effect.
They didn't have air conditioning.
They don't. Well, they have the big fans now. Yes, the air conditioning.
They have bathrooms though.
Inside bathrooms or just porta potties?
Inside.
Yeah, they didn't
corner?
before. They did before.
Okay.
They have porta potties only.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah, my wife was not pleased when people see porta potties here, and that's really just those are auxiliary.
Where are they at? I didn't even see them.
They're back over here to the left.
Mike likes to check out all the porta potties.
So that's for
He has a map.
that's for the
his thing.
That's for the gents. Yeah, I think there's a Instagram like brewery bathrooms. There's an Instagram guy just sends post pictures. But yeah, we actually just redid our bathrooms. It has the nice sweet smell of cedar. So
That's cool. That's an important thing, though.
Yes.
I'm gonna start following that Instagram account.
No, you gotta. It's pretty funny. He'll post a bit. It's pretty new, I think. And I was
Yeah.
like, look at this. I gotta follow this guy.
Yeah.
Brewery bathrooms.
That and nature is metal.
I wonder if he had the Brash bathroom.
with the sticker.
Yeah, it used to have the Trump sticker.
Oh yeah. So I dropped my
inside
phone.
the-
I dropped my phone in the Brash toilet.
Oh, did you leave it?
Of course not. Luckily, it was Brash, as if people don't know, is open till 12, so it was pretty late in the evening, and I don't know if I was trying to text on it or whatever, and it was probably in the water less than 2 seconds because I was like a cat grabbing it, right?
Well, that's
So that's my memory of the Brash bathroom is I dropped my phone in the toilet, but I got it out so quickly it still worked.
that's good. You can't think about it. What you're actually doing with your hand.
No,
You just
got
get Bluetooth from there on out.
But I'm a fan of their thing.
Yeah.
Kind of that fuck you vibe. I think
Yes.
it's kind of got its own little.
That's
place,
exactly
right?
it. It's a fuck you vibe.
Yeah.
But it's authentic.
I think so too,
And
right?
it's done because we've had Ben and Vince on the podcast, and the whole time they had metal like this. It was one song. I don't know if you were
It's
there.
gotta be Pantera. I'd be
No,
disappointed. if
it was
wasn't.
like some weird instrumental type.
That's one, but it was one like hour-long song, like just in like a guitar long, like weird. I don't know. I call it weird because I don't know where to categorize it. Like almost like this, not orchestral, but like a epic, like I don't know, epic song, like epic story of a song, but only music that just played the entire time. And it was just like, yeah, this is what we do on Tuesdays or whatever. It's like we play this and do our thing. But it's it works for them because it's them.
Yes.
You know, if somebody were to come in and try to emulate that, it wouldn't.
Yeah, and
wouldn't
I
work.
think it's funny. So you go in there, and of course, I think I don't know, it was the wife or someone was in there. It's like, man, this place is kind of gnarly, huh? And then you kind of somebody was opening the door, and you kind of peek into the brew area, and it's quite nice, right? And it's clean, and it's so they're professionals too, though, right? They don't let that translate into how they brew beers, and I think that comes across like. I think I'm pretty good about picking up crowlers of stuff, and I'll hit the brash because I like stouts and darks and whatnot. So I picked up, one, and it was outstanding, right? And so I just think they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
Did you play any video games while you were there?
I did. Actually, I talked to the guy who owns all those video games. I
Oh.
got in a deep dive conversation with that guy. So that's that guy's business, right?
Wow.
And so if we so desire, we could, but I think that's kind of their thing.
Yeah.
But
Just a few.
it's remarkable the amount of money those little things make, right? Like
Yeah.
a big machine, but you have to be able to work on them yourself. That's definitely the insight he kind of gave, was he can basically work on it because it's a 24/7 thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he makes a pretty big chunk of money, like just to those video games. But like, so he just places them in there, and then when you spend money, that goes into his pocket.
That's cool.
I took my 8-year-old nephew there. He loves the video games, and we spent like an hour playing Mortal Kombat, and he was so happy when I taught him the Johnny Cage nut punch.
Yeah. The splits to nut punch.
Yeah, so we spent like an entire game just doing nut punches.
Yeah, I'm of the age.
That was so funny.
I'm of the age where I don't have that like 20-year-old dexterity with my hands, right? So I'm a pretty shitty Madden player or whatever, right? So I'm not a video game. Golden Tee is probably what I excel at, right? Which is a sad state of where I am in my life.
I think the only person I could beat was my 8-year-old nephew.
Until
he's
played
10.
for-
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
He could probably beat me now.
Yeah, I love those old school video games though. Just the simple nature of it. Like all this stuff my girls are playing now on the Xbox, and it's like I don't have time for that. I don't know, these long storylines and all that kind of stuff. Just give me Pac-Man or Mortal Kombat.
Galaga.
That's right.
Yeah, Galaga.
Careful, you're gonna date yourself.
They used to have an original Space Invaders at Brash.
They not anymore?
It wasn't there last time I went.
Yeah, and I think that's the other conversation I had. I was asking about like what are the valuable games, and he was saying like certain games, man, still bring a premium, right? Like you can get a lot of money for some of those old, famous games.
That
right?
one was, from the 70s.
Yeah. I want a tapper in our studio. The beer tapper.
Oh yeah.
I want one of those.
To replace the big buck hunter you've already got sitting there.
Yeah. I wish we had Big Buck Hunter.
I have an unfinished Keezer and
an overhead light that
an overhead light that works halfway.
Yeah.
And a TV. I move in and out from my bedroom to the studio.
Yeah, and every time the Keezer kicks on,
the TV goes off.
The TV goes off.
It's work in progress.
Yeah.
It's not
Two-year work in progress.
Look, this is a pirate radio type adventure.
You don't have that Joe Rogan studio.
Not
with,
yet.
Flamethrowers and gyms and then archery ranges.
We've only had Elon Musk on one time,
That's right.
and he was,
He wasn't impressed.
No.
So it would be good for your ratings if I sparked one up right now. Is that what you're?
Well,
telling
nobody's
me?
going to see it, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I'm recording.
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
right.
Yeah, we'll post this later. That's another thing. I got to get this on the video all the time. That's the next step. It's close.
YouTube, man. That's how you got to monetize this thing, huh?
Something. I don't know. I don't know how you monetize it yet.
So there's a kid who makes like $20 million a year reviewing video games.
Really?
Yeah, on YouTube. So
Maybe we'll start doing that.
How do I get that gig?
Right.
I've heard about this 8-year-old boy that makes like millions on YouTube for just playing with toys.
Oh no, that's it. It's not video games. It's toys. That's the kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Just plays with toys.
So I could
That's
do
all
that.
he
I just
does.
need a time machine to take me back to 8 years old. Obviously.
Well, the money would be in the time machine.
Yes.
Yeah, just go back and invest in Microsoft or
No,
Apple
or sell the time machine for billions.
No. Why? Because you just go back and you invest and you have more money. Keep going back, right? No?
I guess if you want to live in the past.
You come back to the future where all your money is. You don't want to sell your time machine.
No, that takes me back to when I had hair.
Yeah.
That's worth a gazillion dollars, right?
Haven't you learned anything? You take a time machine, you go back, you change the past, you come back,
Right.
and everything's different, and it's usually for the worse.
Yeah, it's an alternate 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Well, John, what future plans? I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but grand plans.
Yeah, so grand plans, that's a good question. So kind of our first thing is like any business late in the game, it's kind of revenue time.
Mhm.
So phase one was get this tap room open, kind of get that moving. without going into deep dive detail on kind of mud district versus septic and some of the limitations. Our next phase is that office space. We'll build that out and be able to have private events in there. We have a good cool patio. So I think kind of phase one that we're in now will be really build up what those weeks look like with live music on kind of what nights, you know, for sure Saturdays, but do we do an open mic? Do we do those things we want to have good food truck partners. So we want food trucks that are badass and reliable and people enjoy. So I think to dial this business in on what we have today, kind of in phase one. Phase two will be kind of, it's the IPA talking. So it's I think phase two will be kind of AC in this space to get ready for kind of the summertime. And I think that will be in conjunction with kind of building out those rooms. We should be in distribution mode probably in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the labels, our friends at the government, labels were at like 41 days a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on, we look today to distribute the IPA, the Wit, and the Blonde.
Okay.
So we've got some of our local friends and whatnot at bars kind of in our area that are ready to take us and give us a chance.
Cool.
We got some that are pretty eager, I think, to put us on tap and whatnot.
Would Thistle Draft Shop be one of these?
Thistle, I think, is one of them. They were here.
Yep.
And John and Mary and whatnot were here the other night.
Yeah.
And I think the Tapped folks, the farm, the ranch, Austin over there, Craft Grill with Steven, a lot of the Woodson. So there's a lot of places that have reached out to us or that we already have previous relationships with that are ready to put us on tap. So I think that'll be the next thing that you'll see is those hit taps.
Cool.
I think you'll see that hopefully in about 3 weeks. Relatively aggressive growth plans. We want to be on 100 taps by the end of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm cautiously optimistic that we can do that, right? So that's kind of the first what's going to happen over the next few months. You know, we're big Astros fans on this side. At least I am. I got some Canadian partners that are maybe Toronto fans, Blue Jays fans, but whatever. So I want to have a robust Astros viewing, good food, good music, get that kind of rolling, and then start to go from there.
Yeah. You got your DirecTV being installed.
Yeah, I know. By the way, shout out to DirecTV so we can watch Astros games.
Yeah.
We're fighting right now between wireless and wired on our DirecTV, but that's a different story. So, yeah, we'll be able to have – we got some 75s in here, some 55s. We'll be able to, important games. I'm all about playing the sound too. I like to hear when guys do special things. So.
What are your plans for Astros opening day?
Well, we're going to have at least be able to watch it now since DirecTV's here is doing that. So we're going to open an hour early for Thursday. It's a 3 p.m. first pitch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have a food truck here. We'll be pounding beers and maybe do a little beer special. So anybody who wants to come out and watch, and the March Madness will be going then too. So my school's playing that night, playing Tennessee, so Purdue. But we're going to have some we're going to have some good viewing going on that evening. So yeah, I think we'll open an hour early so that way we can hopefully start the season off with a win. And
Bam.
When do the Cougs play?
They're Sweet 16, yeah. They made it.
Who are they
I don't know.
playing?
Maybe Friday, I think.
I don't know. I
Who are
should really be paying attention to all this stuff.
Yeah. Who are they playing?
It's got to be somebody pretty good. I can go to the Google machine here and
I just saw it. Anyway.
Looks like Texas Tech is playing Michigan.
That'll be a good game.
Houston plays Kentucky.
That's it.
It's 9 o'clock on Friday.
Okay.
9 o'clock Friday night.
All the games
Go
from here. on
Cougs.
out
I'm not a Coug by any means, but I sure want to see them win.
It's-
Right?
yeah,
That's cool.
hometown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, well, I know what Kennedy was alluding to, that on Thursday we're going to do a live pre-show
Yes.
for Liquid Lunch at Thistle Draft Shop. So, if you need lunch, which of course you will.
I think I might make an appearance over there.
You
I'm actually taking the afternoon off, so I
Yeah.
can officially kick off the Astros season in style. So there's a good chance I can swing by and give a high five.
They need to make opening day. That needs to be a holiday. Yeah, especially if opening day is at home. But even still,
Yeah,
both now we can just have two.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Home opener.
a bit criminal that we don't have opening day here at home, but whatever.
Yeah, but Major League Baseball needs to understand so we're playing. So that's two teams with indoor stadiums.
Yes.
where you're going to Minnesota get their first
Yes.
8 games delayed because it's snowed out. That makes no sense. Get those teams down here for opening. Let us do.
It'd be nice to go slap the Rangers next week though before we come home. So I
Yeah.
think that would be that'll be a good feeling if we can have some success up there to start the season.
Yeah, yeah. Kick their ass.
Yes.
Suck it, Rangers.
Yeah,
We have some.
Suck it.
You have Dallas listeners?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And
Any-
Danny, I'm sorry, but Rangers suck.
Yeah, we do have Dallas.
It's all right. It's
That's
all good.
okay.
It's in good. It's in good
Anything
fun.
north of Waxahachie's Oklahoma anyway.
Yeah. I really enjoy that IPA a lot, like
thanks, man.
immensely.
Thank
It's
you.
a super enjoyable.
We hope it gets better as we kind of iterate too over the next few months.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
the-
know. I got to dial it in, like figure out whatever that. There's something about it that just like speaks to me.
Perfect.
That's right. There's a part of my brain that it just speaks directly to.
Nice.
What's the ABV on this?
About 6.2.
Wow. All right.
That's
About
it.
617, I believe that
Okay.
batch would be to be
Okay.
exact. But that's about where we want it to be. The wit's about 5.1. The blonde is a similar range, and the stout's lighter than that. For the final product's 4.6-ish range, so
Okay.
kind of like a Guinness.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and
Common
it's on
miscon-
nitro, so
My-
it's
My girlfriend Julie. Hi, Julie.
hi Julie.
Yeah, loved that your Irish stout.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Good.
Yeah, but she's a big fan.
Good.
The Irish Reds, Irish Stouts,
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
and like you don't get them a lot at the breweries.
Well, I was speaking
Yeah.
of Limbo. I was talking to Keenan about that the other day. He's like, "Do you know anybody that has one all year round or whatever?" I was racking my brain. I couldn't think of now.
I think we'll keep it year round because it's a relatively light, easy drinker.
Well, even in
No.
like something about a stout at night when it's hot, it
Yep.
works.
Yep. Agreed.
So,
And when it's cold, it works.
yeah, that's what. Yeah. So, it's almost counterintuitive. You would think, oh, it's a dark, rich beer or something like that. But at night, it's like it cuts through the humidity or something. I don't know. It's like they would serve Guinness in like Jamaica in those places when they were, or wherever all those places they were colonies.
Yeah, where it was 92 and 100% humidity year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It works. So
They were not. They were.
Yeah,
not.
so I think everything we've got on now will be year-round beers. I think that's the short answer to that. And I think the Deepa and the hazy will probably be year-round too at this point, till the hazies fall out of favor again. And then who knows, right?
Cyclical, yeah.
It's cyclical, but man, right now if you don't have it,
yeah,
Mm.
they may be here
it's
to
a hard answer. I
stay.
think they're here to stay.
Yeah.
I think
they drink well during the summer.
I
Yeah.
think here in Houston we see it as like a Houston thing.
Oh yeah.
We're
Like-
the best at it.
Like yeah, that the hazies.
Collectively.
Oh, that's totally a Houston
It
thing.
matches our weather.
The Houstons and all the plays on the play on Houston. and
Yeah,
all
the
that, so,
I remember the first time I had Houston haze, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
never had anything like this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Mine was blown.
Cool. Well, John, we don't want to keep you from your hard work. Was there?
Yeah.
Did you need to?
No, I got a few more minutes. I'm good.
Oh, great. Mike's got his shades on, like he's feeling too cool.
Right. I think I poked my eye trying to take my contact out last night, and I really didn't want to wear my contacts today. So the sun's kind of, my eyes are sensitive right now.
Because you have your
You're
contacts.
you're
in?
just trying
Yes.
you're just trying to look cool.
You do look cool.
And my
Oh, your
Yes.
look group.
Ah,
Oh,
that
look
is.
at that.
Yeah.
Little shout out to Huggy Bear.
I was going to ask what it was until you turned and it
yeah,
said local group.
I didn't know which side the words were on.
Do y'all?
It seems like they're back in action, huh? They're back kind of on track since the DME.
Yes. They've. Well, we did a show with Huggy Bear from their super secret pilot location in a nondescript
Isn't
garage.
Isn't it? Oh yeah.
Huh?
You just said it. Someone's garage.
Yeah, but we didn't say who or where.
No.
In
That
town.
narrows it down to like 450,000 houses.
Yes.
Something like that, right?
But yeah, they. I think they've got the lease, or they were doing construction at their site,
Okay.
so
good.
they're working.
They
and
just got the permit to do
And it's
construction.
kind of right there by that gentrified kind of or becoming gentrified area around St. Arnold, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that's
So-
an amazing. When you
is
look
that-
at that,
Is that Fifth Ward?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, it butts up right to it if it's
Butts
not.
up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole area is. I mean, it's all about to change.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? You go down there and you're like, there's about a 60% chance your car will get broken into, and then there's about 100% chance you'll see like a homeless fire kind of stuff. But then you're gonna see all this other crazy stuff that's like where it's up and coming, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a very
Like a
crazy area.
$500,000 home next
Yes.
to a
Shantytown.
yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Yeah, tents.
H-Town, man, no zoning. Welcome to it, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, give it another 5 years and it'll all be.
Yeah, that's the argument, right, for the fact that Houston it pivots so well is because of the no zoning.
Yeah.
That allows us to kind of like morph and change really quickly.
Yeah,
as a
there's no
city.
old area of Houston really.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
there's a handful of places that's
right.
like historical Houston, but there's not. It's
Yeah.
not like.
That north side's pretty intriguing, though. I think it's going to be pretty cool when it gets
Yeah.
kind of sorted out
Yeah,
all together.
Yeah,
right?
back when I was in college, that's a place you didn't go.
Like
The
17 days ago, you didn't
Yeah.
go there too because certain things. Right? Like it still
No.
kind of got some dodgy spots, right?
Yeah, yeah. You didn't even drive through the Fifth Ward at night.
Oh
No,
yeah, I remember
no,
George
not-
Foreman
not at
talking
all.
about the Bloody Fifth.
Yeah, you
He's from the-
you didn't drive through that because there's about a 85% chance you were going to get carjacked.
Huh.
Yeah.
But you're saying like a 15% chance you won't.
Yeah, yeah.
I like those odds.
Yeah.
Let's
Me
do
too.
this.
Yeah, let's do this.
I never took those odds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a friend.
I stayed away.
I had a friend in town, and he was like, "Oh, let's meet at a brewery, okay?" And so we met at the. I was like, "We gotta go. You gotta go check out the new beer garden, right?" And he's with the Corps of Engineers, and like at a pretty high level. Anyway, so he parks in the parking lot, and we go to do something, and like Brock's walking around the parking lot, and I was like, "Oh, there's something going on, right?" And there's like 13 windows bashed in, right? And he had got his first trip to the brewery, he had lost his laptop in his bag, right? And I was like,
no.
luckily it was a rental car, but I was like, sorry about that. Welcome to Houston, by the way.
Yeah. Oh man, that sucks. But at the same
someone's
time, another delivery. I bet you y'all
we get a ton of just kind of walking around, see what's going on. Let me scope this place out.
People are trying to sell you stuff.
You know, speaking of hobos, I've had this thing on hobos lately, and maybe this isn't politically correct, but is it still okay to call hobos hobos?
Sure.
Maybe
don't-
not, but I don't know.
I doubt very many hobos are listening. So yeah.
Look, I think
it's a whole new world.
I think
mean-
most hobos have iPhones now.
Yes.
Now, are they craft beer fans? I don't know. I'm a hobo, but I don't drink bad beer. Let's be honest. If you hand me a beer out of your car, it
Well,
better be a craft local.
I haven't seen any cardboard signs that say.
Are Mickey's Big Mouth craft? So they could be.
I think they just miss on the distribute or something. I think their ownership is like 2% above what it should be to be craft. But no, like we had up on the northwest side. I live in Cypress. Under the bridge, somebody had like a full bed, like
Yeah.
a mattress, like a full mattress, but then it also had sheets and everything on it. It's just like sleeping under I was like,
That's kind of like that by Minute Maid, though, right? It's like it's kind of it's a
Well,
town. It's
well,
a
yeah.
town.
I mean, Minute Maid, you got the Star of Hope Mission, and then there's also that soup kitchen there.
Yeah.
So there's
But I mean,
a lot,
they set
lot
up
of
where
homeless.
it's like
Right
a,
underneath
it's
the
like
freeway,
it's
yeah.
a home, right?
Yes.
lot
Yeah.
of homeless
well,
there.
that was the thing is like it's like 10 a.m. He's still sleeping there. I'm like, one, how do you sleep with all the traffic? I mean, I admire that. That's some,
Yeah, yeah.
that's some, you know,
In August.
yeah, undercovers. You know, maybe that means he's whatever. He's got
he's-
issues,
He's probably sleeping the night off.
or well, yeah, and also if you're schizophrenic, you can't regulate temperature. But that's a whole nother podcast.
That is a whole other podcast.
But
We can't even decide if hobo or bum or what the preferred.
I like hobo.
Yeah.
I like just like the word hobo.
Transient.
No, because they stay there. That's what I'm saying. He had a full like a,
You're really not transient, right? You
right.
just-
He had. I mean, it set up under. It was a double bed. He had plenty of room. He was an outlet away from having like a bedside table. With
Yeah,
a
but
lamp.
say, when do you see the mailbox go up, right? It's like, all right, I'm officially an address now, right?
Listen, yeah, you get on our Facebook page for our neighborhood, and everybody knows him by name.
Did you have any
Yeah.
like plants out in front?
Yeah, that's
No shrubbery, no ferns.
Yeah, you recognize, you know him, right? The neighborhood knows who he is. Like, oh, hey, how's it going? Good to see you.
Wayne the hobo.
Wayne.
I don't know. It was just I don't know. I just sat there and looked at it like
Cypress is pretty gangster nowadays. It's,
yes.
it's,
Even our hobos shop at IKEA apparently.
That's
I think people hand him like here's some. We were gonna return these, but we'll just give you this 1,800 thread count sheets. You just slap them on your. What are those mattresses that you can get ordered to the house? The roll up like the one all the podcast people promote.
I have one of those.
What is it? What's the brand?
I forget. There's a whole
needle
bunch.
and thread or something.
There's a whole bunch of them now.
Yeah, you can just get a like people like a 90-day guarantee or it's like
Well, I love my mattress.
yeah, everything's
It's
throwaway
It's
now.
freaking awesome.
Yeah,
well,
so you
shout out to Tempur-Pedic while we're talking
or,
about
yeah,
that.
whoever
right?
yeah, whatever that company is that does the
Memory foam is the way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
even if you sleep outside, in the-
It might be a little toasty. Might be
Yeah.
a little.
Yeah, you probably
Sweat
get,
inducing.
You probably get a little warm.
you want one of those
You gotta get warm anyway.
heat dispersing mattresses if you're going to be sleeping under a bridge. I don't know.
You don't see too much of that in Cyprus, though.
But that's what I'm saying. It's weird. It's like the one dude. He's like there at. I can tell you, it's at Spring Cypress and Spring Cypress and 290.
That's my hood, by the way. Also,
Yeah.
Over there,
So look out for Wayne. Tell
Wayne,
him you know me.
Wayne.
Hey, I met Josh.
Oh,
Yeah, listen to the podcast. I'm actually listening to it right now.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
As soon as I can scrounge up enough money to get an Uber over there, I'm gonna go check out the brewery.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah, hobos don't walk anymore. They
No,
Uber
it's
everywhere.
Catch a ride.
Yeah, he's out there doing Tai Chi under the bridge. He runs a class, but he doesn't want any money. He's got a big heart. He's the hobo with the big heart. I don't know.
He doesn't want any money.
No,
I don't buy that.
not for the Tai Chi.
Oh,
Maybe for a meal, but
meal.
yeah, or whatever.
So good news. It looks like our direct TV is progressing.
Awesome.
All right.
We'll be able to watch them after the Thistle Liquid Lunch.
Yeah.
Well,
Shout out to Thistle. Shout out to
we're starting at
InterBrews.
noon, so game doesn't start till 3.
Yeah.
So
It's gonna be a long
Wait,
day.
what's the target? 5th inning before you face plant? Or 6th inning?
I don't know. I got to figure out how I'm going to get home. I got to work all that out logistically.
I took the day off.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So
Mike, you're going to be there, right? What's
Man,
your day
you
off?
start at lunch. You might have to take Friday off too. I don't know.
I don't know.
I live close, so
Maybe
Uber all the way.
I may be crashing at your place.
Yeah, just park there and ride together. Have your stuff dropped off.
Yeah, it's all the stuff. It's all the stuff. That's
Drop
the
it off.
Okay.
So what do you got in the queue after 200? What's
Oh, well, actually, 11 Below, their anniversary's coming up.
yeah, it is
Their
a four
fourth year.
year, 4
Yeah.
years.
So
Crazy how that happens, huh?
The week after 201 will be 11 Below. And then after that, we've been in talks with, I think I've been talking to Megaton. We got to get out there.
Yeah, Chris. Thanks for coming by, Chris.
Yeah,
If you're somehow stumbled across this.
Yes, hopefully. I think he's going to be at Thistle as well, or he's going
Excellent.
to try to be if
Good
he can.
dude. Good dude.
So it might be an impromptu roundtable.
Yeah.
If you guys are
Oh, Lord.
jump on a mic.
I'll be pounding some beers then too. You never know. Might get a little loose. And
That's what we're looking for.
yeah.
After that, it's just keep on keeping on. Just
Have you talked to Astral? Yeah.
I've sent him messages, but not nary a reply yet. But I'll harass him. I've gotten pretty good at harassing people.
So tell Brock that I've got my eyeball on his 300th episode.
Okay.
100 episodes from now. So
He'll be like, by 300, his inspiration will have come from here. He's like, we were going in one direction, but then we saw those
decided
guys.
to pivot.
And we saw what Fortress
we
was doing.
tore down that Taj Mahal that we built and decided to go farther out in the suburbs
Yes.
to a less cool place.
No, you know what? It's not less cool.
It's just different.
It's just different.
It's just where it is.
I like it.
Right.
No,
That's
I like
trust me. I am so happy you guys open.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I
Thanks.
love having a brewery now this close to home.
Yes, as amazing as
Yeah.
St. Arnold
We-
is, it's not close to my house.
Yeah,
we-
same here.
we-
I love it, but it's a birthday driving into that place, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Nah, this area needed one.
Yeah.
Big time.
We're bullish on the area. So
Mhm.
I think we're pretty close to the Woodlands too. We get a lot of Woodlands kind of
Mhm.
love shout outs too. So
Well, Conroe is the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing cities in America. At least it was on one list at one point.
Yep.
It said that. Somebody said it, so it must be true. But
that was the internet said it, so it's definitely
yeah, but there's a lot of people coming out this way, and it's Houston, so everything changes and moves, and Houston's not getting any smaller.
No, that's
Houston's too awesome. I love Houston. Move down here.
we're the freedom state too, man. It becomes less and less nowadays.
Unless
so.
you're a brewery trying to sell beers together.
no doubt, no doubt.
Or if you like to smoke weed. And then
Or gamble.
that'll get there.
Yeah,
I think gambling will be like in a year.
Oof, I hope so.
It's on the docket. Like there's bills filed.
Strong believer in taxing vices, and I probably have a few of those vices myself. So
Yeah.
let's
You
do
think
it.
gambling before weed?
Sportsbook gambling, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to take the national topple of weed before it comes here.
Yeah.
Texas is funny with it's a big poker place.
Yep.
There's a lot of big poker names that have come
Well,
from Houston.
Well,
Well,
you
I
can do
mean-
the poker thing now, right? They got the little loophole in that
Yeah.
law where as long as the house doesn't take
It's-
money, right?
Yeah,
They-
it's
they-
funny how they decide which vice is good and which is not. Like gambling, okay, we'll allow that. Or the worst form of gambling, which is lottery,
Yep.
which what are your odds there?
Yeah.
It's just a tax on
Yeah,
poor people.
it's
That's exactly what it
yeah.
is.
Your
Tax on
chances of getting struck by lightning are greater.
Yeah.
Tax on those bad at math.
Yes. But yeah, I think sportsbook is close. Just As if Chris Christie did one good thing in his life, it was that he's sued to get that or whatever he did.
I think if
Chris Christie also put a lot of restaurants in business.
That's what I was gonna say. If you were an all-you-can-eat buffet, he'd probably put you out of business, but most restaurants in
yeah, no doubt, he's a big fella.
Yeah.
I think you'll see though medicinal to Texas.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I don't know why. Why are we even silly?
I mean, that's how
Just do it.
that's how it starts. Medicinal,
That's exactly.
recreational.
No, I get it, but it doesn't make any sense to say that it shouldn't be. We're just too, I don't know.
So that was the running joke is so on this property we're on 3 acres and the long-term plan I think is kind of have a mirror building at the other end. It's a pretty architecture of the building and for a warehouse building. And so the running joke with the landlord was, we're going to build that. He'll give us first kind of shot at using the space. And it was, we will just maybe, depending on the laws, open a dispensary there. And I think his comment was, if you install a golf hole in between the two, I'll never have to leave the property, right? That's maybe the long term that you were asking. That's phase 3 of the business.
I do have a favor.
Fire away.
Please do not install frisbee golf. If you're doing a dispensary,
oh yes,
do not
go hand in hand.
Do not do the frisbee golf.
That crowd, it's too rough.
That doesn't seem like something that would fit our what we're trying to do here. I don't think.
That's a whole nother thing.
No, we probably got a better chance of putting like skeet shooting than we would frisbee golf, right? So I think
That'd be awesome.
that would be more, I think, more my speed than frisbee golf. But yeah.
Could you? I don't guess you could do that.
You'll have hippies from all over.
I think I'd rather have hobos than hippies.
Yeah.
Hobos have a good story to tell.
Hey, dude, frisbee golf, bro.
Yeah. They don't seem like they like to have too many craft beer in volume, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need craft beer in volume.
Yeah.
For sure. There is a frisbee golf kind of down there on Spring Cypress you kind of drive by.
Mm-hmm.
So
Where? Almost 249 kind of by the
There's one on
by my
Gosling
house.
too.
Yeah.
Not far from here.
Couple in town.
Yeah.
Couple in
Yeah,
town.
you can go do that.
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan of
I've never been.
Frisbee golf?
No.
I don't. Good news is I don't think we have the space to do it.
No.
We do have coyotes here at night.
Yeah.
You can hear them quite loudly, and we had wild hogs.
I was gonna say I saw one the other day by my house.
They've kind of disappeared though. I think now that there's more people traffic.
You can shoot those things.
Oh yes.
Not in town. Literally.
Sorry. No, you can't. You're right. Not in town.
Unless you have like a crossbow or something.
Yeah.
More people should have crossbows.
But the coyotes are thick around here. It's quite
They're loud too.
Yes. I mean, they like loud.
Yes. You walk outside at night and you're like, it's eerie.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on? This is like a scene from Game of Thrones or something. Like somebody's about to get eaten.
I think they eat cats and like lap dogs.
Yeah.
So be it.
Yeah. Mike, tell Kate to watch out.
You can get cats are free, so you can get a replacement.
We have a cat we can't get rid of on our front porch. He just hangs out. We
Well,
feed him, but
you feed him. That's why you can't get rid of him.
But
Yeah, it keeps snakes and mice down. So that's
I don't know that
outside
he
cats
does.
are kind of cool.
yeah, I don't know that he does. He's just kind of a freeloader. He's a hobo cat.
We have a neighborhood cat too.
Yeah.
That keeps snakes and mice down. So
Yeah. At least that's his. It's on his card.
I really hope that guy doesn't fall.
Oof, not as much as I hope he doesn't fall.
Your job is to catch him if he does.
Yes. There's a since we're on. This is an audio show.
Yeah,
There's a guy right next to us on a big ladder.
enabling though the ability to be able to watch Astros.
Yes.
That's
he's doing the Lord's work.
He is doing the Lord's work.
He's doing good work, but I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad my back is towards him.
Well,
yeah, I'll tell you, cutting the cord is easier said than done nowadays. Because if you want local sports, and you guys are probably well versed in this, if you want local sports, you don't have much opportunity to stream
unless you have in-laws with passwords.
Yes.
Not that I would do that.
But you still can't get local sports, right?
That's true.
That's the trick.
That's true. Unless they, that's
if only local sports would go to streaming.
Well, they do, but it's so convoluted the way the Astros to get that network. It's that single one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That R word. But so we are through gritted teeth installing DirecTV. But we will be able to watch all our favorite sporting events. The Rockets seem to be good right now. So
Until it rains.
no comment. It doesn't rain in Houston.
They have
Unless you've lived here for the last 8 months and all it's done is rain.
Yeah. No, it's
I haven't had DirecTV for like many years, and is that still a thing when it rained? Because every time it rained,
Yes.
depends. You know, when I had
it would go out.
it was the light rain, showers that would do it. The heavy ones were fine.
Yep.
But then a light one, like 1 or 2 drops.
I always find it to be a good predictor of rain
Mhm.
because it would start like 45 seconds before. It would go out 45 seconds before the rain hits. So I call it a predictor of rain.
Yeah.
And we don't need a meteorologist.
No, we just got DirecTV.
We got DirecTV.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not launching any more satellites though. So whatever happens from here on out, this is kind of what you're stuck with.
Yeah.
They're not. Everything's going to streaming after. Even the way they do.
It's a
it.
little disappointing we couldn't. We tried. We were going to
Yeah.
stream, but it's pretty tough to do legally
Yeah.
to watch local games.
Yeah.
And we are nothing but law-abiding citizens here at
Right.
Fortress Beerworks.
I
So,
mean,
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's the difference. Is like your packages for DirecTV are going to be way different than what you'd pay for it at the house.
a little different. Not as bad as I expected.
Well, the price wise, right?
Yes. It's a little bit more, but it's not
Not
crippling.
that much more.
Not unless you want like Sunday Ticket or one of those, right?
Mm.
But
What about like UFC fights? Actually, did you see,
significantly more.
Yeah,
right? That's if you want
$100.
to. Yes.
did you see where now you have to have ESPN? Well, maybe not for a business, but at home you have to have ESPN Plus to watch UFC fights.
Yes.
It's like exclusive.
It's
Everything's
their
changed.
new. Their new. Yes.
Yeah.
That's their scramble to stay relevant.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I have some hot breaking UFC news.
Go for it.
Conor McGregor retired.
That's not true. I mean, he tweeted it.
Is that hot breaking?
I don't know.
I mean, that's so like 9 hours ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like 3 news cycles ago nowadays, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a ploy.
don't-
He's trying to get a big fight. He's trying to drum up some he's going to fight again. There's too much money on the
It's
table.
too
for
much
him.
money. He will definitely fight again.
He can fight Nate Diaz. He can fight rematch with Khabib.
I think he'll get his ass kicked by Khabib if he fights him again.
I want to see Ben Askren versus Khabib.
Yep.
That's gonna be a good fight. Are you a UFC fan? I'm guessing you are. for movies.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
I love
Ish.
you.
I'm not.
I'm more of a boxing guy, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
So why? Okay, let's talk about that. Why Tyson Fury and the guy he just fought, Tyson Fury and the champ, not Anthony Joshua.
And,
Anyway, the guy that they just fought to
yes.
a draw.
Yes.
Jumanji.
No, I'll think of his name here in a minute. Guy from Alabama. Anyway, they're not going to fight. They should. It was one of the best heavyweight fights we've had in 15 years.
Tyson Fury is still not compelling, right? I think that's one of the
You
issues.
think?
I don't think any of the heavyweights are.
Really? That was a great fight, though.
It was.
And I like both of their stories. Like he almost, he wanted to commit suicide,
But
and then God spoke to him, and he didn't.
It's
That's an interesting story.
It's a Derek Lewis world now. So if you're not,
Yeah.
I just think there's not compelling heavyweights, and so I think that hurts.
There could be those guys, Mike.
What?
We hear all of
You're
that.
making noise.
Oh, am I?
Yeah,
No.
you do that every show.
I can't hear myself.
It's only been put the headphones on. It's only been like 5 years since you've been on the show. You realize that, right? Every time you touch
So
that
did
mic.
you come out of retirement to come?
No, I mean he's been on it for 5 years straight.
Oh,
But every time
didn't hear it.
he just
I didn't
fondles
think it
the
was
mic.
making noise.
You fondle
Go
the
ahead.
mic.
by the
Fighting.
way, I did
Boxing, yay.
I've now subscribed to the podcast.
Oh, thanks.
So,
What iTunes or Stitcher or
Yes, I use
Tune in?
I use iTunes and
iHeart?
Spotify.
Spotify? We're on.
Yeah.
Oh, you Apple people.
We're on everything. We're on everything.
I do not own an Apple product.
That's why you never get texts.
Yeah, that
Not that we don't text you. We text you. You just never see them.
Yeah.
See, like I said, Apple products.
I'm trying to think of his name. It's going to bug me. He just fought
Bugging
Tyson.
me too.
Who did he- Starts with a D.
A couple of weeks ago.
Not Demetrius. I'm thinking of Demetrius Johnson.
Dominguez.
No.
I want to say
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder.
Yes,
thank you.
that was it. Deontay. That was a great fight. One of the best fights that's happened in forever. They need to rematch, but they're not going to because they just signed exclusive deals. Boxing sucks like that.
I don't
The
think they're
business-
that good though. That's why. I think they're not compelling.
Really?
Yeah, even Tyson Fury.
I thought the stories were great.
They try to be.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm a Roy Jones Jr. guy. So
he was
once,
great.
Once he kind of retired, it
Yeah.
was, or I think he still fights a little bit here and there. But
Who was he? He was going to fight a UFC guy. Who was he going to fight? It wasn't Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's.
no, it was Anderson Silva, wasn't it? 50-year-old Anderson Silva.
Yeah, no, he Vitor Belfort. In
Is that who it was? I
Yeah,
thought it
well,
was
that
Silva.
was the latest. They
Yeah,
were going to
yeah.
do like a mixed rules kind of
Yeah.
thing.
so there's 50-year-old guys in UFC?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you're saying I got a chance
No, you don't.
to make it if I start training now?
Randy
definitely.
Couture was champ until he was like 46.
Yeah.
But it's
Not your average human.
no, he's a mutant. But I love UFC. I can watch UFC all day. Even rematch, like just matches I've already seen a million times. Rewatch
Yeah,
them.
I'm a Joe Rogan podcast listener,
Mhm.
so you kind of get it pounded into your head no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like it. I
Yeah.
think I like the compelling fights.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my house almost flooded at the McGregor Mayweather fight, right? Along with everybody else's. That one goes down in lore, in that it was Harvey and
Yeah.
McGregor Mayweather all in one.
Oh,
one
there were
fell
Yeah.
so many people that went out to like bars and stuff to watch that fight. And
Is
then,
that the weekend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the weekend.
Yeah, my buddy got. It's fact that
they got
seat-
stuck at the bars.
There. He
Oh, darn.
tried to get home into sight from my house, his house in Cyprus, and he spent the night at the CVS by the car wash because he couldn't get home.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, like it was pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That Harvey thing was just, we got locked into our neighborhood in Fairfield. It
Yeah, we
was
did too. So
yeah.
you're a Fairfield gangster, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we're the orange poppy posse is what we call our
Oh,
street
yeah.
is Orange Poppy Drive.
Is it?
It's super gang. Yeah.
Super gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the orange,
it's so
orange
gay.
poppy.
Maybe the least gangster neighborhood in Houston.
I drive to that neighborhood once a week,
Yeah.
and it is anti-gangsta.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
There's nothing,
We keep it real.
Yes.
nothing
Real
gangsta
neat.
about that.
And we edge all of our yards. No weeds. No weeds amongst the flowers.
Yeah, that's the big argument around there. Somebody's got weeds in the front yard.
No,
and, and they're a rebel. They're
You know
like,
what it is? Here's the
Like,
debates
oh
that
my-
have happened, and this
Yeah.
is what happens when you get a couple beers into the show. But here's the debate that has happened on our Facebook page: is that what we feed the ducks,
Yeah.
or is it like too many carbs for the ducks, or should they
yeah.
be eating bread?
Karen
No.
Karen twists off on Nextdoor app
Yeah.
because the what's being fed to the ducks, right?
No,
The duck lady. Do you know her? I feel like the Nextdoor app even gets super
Oh, man.
aggressive.
I have to. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Hey, there's our fence people coming in. There's all kinds of construction.
Are y'all getting
going
more
on today.
fence?
Yeah, we're gonna
The kid area.
kid
the kid-
friendly area.
Oh, it's gonna be a structured,
Well,
like,
yeah,
actual
you-
fence.
We actually decided that getting a child run over in the parking lot is probably bad for business.
Yeah.
So
probably.
We are erecting a fence that's going to keep kids safe, actually, and parents safe too. Parents kind of forget that they have kids when they get to a brewery at times.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Well, this is a way to corral all the kids.
Yes.
Are you just gonna put
Yeah.
a fence around the dirt pile? I feel like
No, actually, the dirt pile will be part of the fenced-in area. The dirt pile is not long-term.
well, you say that, but you may want to bring in, extra dirt.
I mean,
Our plan this weekend is to actually bring in little small tiny shovels and then just have them move it around like we need it.
I think you should leave. I
Make it into a contest.
You can market the dirt pile and say, hey, we got a big dirt pile for your
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, like No Label did the full, playground.
Yes.
I think a dirt pile works just as well.
Yeah, it's more cost effective.
Yeah. And if you bring out, like, instead of a food truck, well, you can still have the food truck, obviously, but you also bring out like a first aid truck. Just
And I really have no. I mean, a kid can't really hurt a propane tank, can they?
No?
I mean, you
Probably
kind
not.
of paint a saddle on it, and then it becomes.
Is it full of propane?
I hope so, because we need that to brew. So yes, I believe it is full of propane.
No, I'm sure they'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they can disconnect hoses. and
No,
stuff.
I don't think they can.
No,
Slide off of the end, maybe.
Yep.
you're probably good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan. So that's part of the big build out area there. Get that knocked out before Thursday. Thursday was a little crazy around here, so we had a lot going on with
Yeah.
kids in parking lots and whatnot. So yeah, we were trying to child-proof as much as you can. Child-proof a brewery, I think, is kind of the goal.
Please don't tell me that you guys are going to put down like padded AstroTurf.
Oh no, child-proof just means we're going to put a fence between the parking lot and
Yeah,
everybody
because-
else.
What
Yeah.
was the time frame from the moment y'all filed for a license until now that you're open? What was
So I think we started looking. The high-level time frame was we started looking for. We kind of made the decision to do this kind of November, a year and a half ago, 2017.
okay.
Kind of started looking for a facility in earnest in December, January. Signed the lease August 1st. Took equipment delivery mid-October. We had our TABC done and approved by mid-November. And then we were brewing in December.
Okay.
So that was kind of the rough timeline. And then some of our challenges have been around, we're on well water and we're getting mud. So we'll be tied into it. But for now, we're on well water and septic. And so there's
How
some
long until the mud?
this summer.
Okay.
So breweries produce a lot of wastewater.
Yeah.
So we had that's probably been 2 months of our delay is kind of going through that process with the county and whatnot.
Okay.
So I'd say from pounding beers to making the decision, hey, let's kind of do something like this to today was about 15, 16 months.
Okay.
17
That seems
months.
that seems pretty fast.
It was pretty fast.
Yeah, compared to the I don't know what the average is. Probably a little longer
I
than
don't know. It's the first time. So I feel like we were pushing pretty hard just because we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the facility was the hardest part,
Yeah.
no question. That was the finding one that is the right facility.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot we found that had some pretty big warts. We looked at a couple in Cyprus, but again, it's just a challenge to find the right place, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm glad you picked this location.
yes.
So, yeah,
Okay.
being very selfish now, but
No, it's all right. It's all right.
I'm glad you did.
We're, believe it or not, glad we did too. So I think we've got the right place, I think. And I think we've got beer that's good now, will get better. So I'm confident in Dion, our brewer. I'm confident in our Rob, Sean. So there's 4 of us. And I think we all kind of add different things. No one's murdered each other yet, so one of the others yet. So that's a good sign.
Hmm.
No prison terms yet. So, but I think we've got different skill sets.
Yeah.
So I think we're on the right track. I think we're not where we're going to be, but we're working that direction.
Mm.
Have you guys hired any servers or anything? Or
So we've got employee number 1.
Oh.
So we hired a young guy who lives 5 minutes from here, who had spent 3 years at Eighth Wonder. So working on the cold side of their business. So maybe the first time this will be said, but we're going to be adding some bartenders. So we're kind of going to post that probably today or tomorrow. So we're going to add a couple of bartenders and start to build staff from there.
Cool.
So that's kind of the short-term plan for employees.
It's gonna make you guys' life a lot easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm kind of, like you said, do everything right now. I clean toilets. I do podcasts. I wash kegs. Do whatever, right? And we're all kind of in that mode right now. I think I get a message. I did a check the other day. I get a message on like social media like every 4 minutes the other day. I was
wow.
holy shit, this is nuts.
Are we your first podcast?
What you are?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm sure there'll be more.
Hopefully you'll have us back on.
Well,
Oh no, yeah.
I'm talking about a few others.
Do we talk about?
I mean,
Lesser podcast.
yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a letdown with the
Yes.
other ones.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Oh, they're fine.
Wait,
Whoever they
what?
are. Well, I mean, there's radio shows and stuff too.
Yeah.
But we for sure. Thanks for the opportunity to have us on.
Oh,
All right, we're
man, it's
looking.
the honors all on this side
Oh.
of the table.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
that's
20th anniversary, by the way.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh
20th
man,
anniversary of,
one of the best movies of all time. You know that movie, right? Mike, is it
What?
It's a quiz.
Office
Yeah.
Space?
Oh yeah.
Some Houston ties there. That's
Yeah.
some pretty strong Houston ties.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was missing work.
He just quoted that.
He's not listening to me.
No, he's not. He doesn't listen to.
That's okay.
He just quoted. Like you're like okay. I would say if you're gonna quote again, quote a different quote.
All right.
I think he was busy giving me the O face.
Yeah.
Corporate accounts receivable.
It's like you got a case of the Tuesdays.
Is that what today is?
That's what that is. All right. Well, we'll wrap it here because
PC low letter.
Never, I don't know. Anyway,
It's spiraling.
yeah,
Spiraling.
It is. Everybody's trying to. I really celebrate the man's whole catalog. Michael Bolton. He's such a talented man.
Anybody ever tell you got a case? Looks like you got a case of the
I
Mondays.
just said case of the Tuesdays.
Nah, man.
No.
Believe a fella get his ass kicked.
Get your ass kicked. I love that movie. I want to go watch it
You
now.
got to slide into 2 chicks at the same time.
Yeah, kind of chicks who double down on a dude like me. No, I think you'd have to pay for that. All right, Mike's exiting the table.
Yeah, exactly. Just had it out.
All right, we'll wrap here. And John, just thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
And Rob, thanks, man. He's back at the office or whatever he's doing. Not as fun as what we're doing here. But anyway, thank you so much. And congratulations on an awesome tap room, an awesome brewery, and delicious beer. That IPA, I really, really, really enjoyed. The Wit was good too, but
Appreciate it.
that one tuned into my brain somewhere on another level. So I enjoyed that a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, Fortress Beerworks. Spring Cypress? Is it? What's the address? Is
2606.
2606.
We got a sign on the road, but we're kind of behind the little park and sell parking lot thing, so you won't see us if you look. Don't look for the building. Look for the sign.
They're basically behind the big HEB.
Yeah, and look for the use the Google machine. It works.
Yeah,
The
it does.
The Google machine works.
Yes. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look for the hours on social. Music acts, food trucks, dirt piles, and delicious beer. What more could you ask for? Fortress Beerworks, ladies and gentlemen. So for John, for Rob, for Mike, Kennedy, thanks for being back on the show again.
You kind of struggled. You're like,
No. I'm just saying you're not normally on, but
well,
you should be more. You should be on more often.
well, when I don't have to drive very far.
Super dedicated.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Josh. This is InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.